A naked man has little to no influence on society. In clothes like this, you step out and you know that you're going to turn heads. You know that you're going to create an impression of a person who cares deeply about the way they look and has a finer eye for detail. And, that seems to be the Bombay Shirt Company way. What I really love about these clothes, and I really mean this, is this looks like a man has walked into the room. I like that. It's nice.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. Omar Khalid has been in jail for 5 years, during which time he's made 6 attempts to secure bail and he's been unsuccessful on every occasion. So today we examine the way the courts have responded to his bail appeals. Have the courts been correct and fair, or have they been unjust and wrong? On the 2nd of September, the Delhi High Court said the adage, bail is the rule, refusal is the exception, is not universally applicable. Does that really apply to Umar Khalid? Joining me now to share his understanding of this matter is one of the country's foremost lawyers, former Law Minister Kapil Sibal. Kapil Sibal, Omar Khalid has made 6 attempts to get bail and he's been unsuccessful every time. 3 were at the Sessions Court level, 2 at the Delhi High Court level, and 1 which was withdrawn was at the Supreme Court level. What keeps going wrong in his case?
Well, what keeps going wrong is the fact that I think the government wants to punish him and in fact silence all those young people who protested against the Citizenship Amendment Act, the CAA, and the agitations that were going on across Delhi, across many parts of the country. I think the government wanted to send a message that we're not going to allow this. So I think that from the point of view of the government, that was the intent.
Are you saying the government wanted to punish Omar Khalid and the courts played along?
No, I didn't say that. I said the government wanted to punish. Now the court, as far as bail is concerned, the court has always said, fine, you want to grant him bail or you don't want to grant him bail, but grant him, pass an order, either rejecting bail or granting bail. So that's what's been violated. Now, why it has been violated is for the courts to explain. Because the man has been inside for almost 5 years. That is 4 years, 11 months, 15 days. And these bail applications have not been heard for months. And if they've been heard, they've been dragged on for months. Now that the court has to explain.
In a recent press conference, you criticized the way the courts have handled Omar Khalid's appeals. Can you, for the sake of the audience who didn't hear that press conference, encapsulate that criticism in brief?
Yes, I can. Say for example, the High Court dealing with his bail. Let's just look at that. In an appeal before the High Court, which is 613 of 2024, it came up before Pratibha Singh and Amit Sharma. And there were 18 hearings in this bail application. The question arises, why 18 hearings? And It went on for 407 days. The question arises, why this delay in deciding on the bail? Then, after she heard the matter, reserved the order. The matter was first taken up on 22nd of July 24. She reserved the order. The bench reserved the order on 9th July 25. And then didn't decide the matter. After 5 days, didn't decide the matter. Why? That question arises. I can't explain that. Courts must explain that, and the people must know what's happening. Then the matter went to Justice Suresh Kait and Justice Girish Katpalia. He recused. Why did he recuse? We don't know about that either. And I think the time has come when judges should tell us why they recuse. Then the matter went to Justice Naveen Chawla and Justice Shailendra Kaur, which is the impugned judgment. That went on for 36 days. For 36 days. And this procedure took 407 days. So I don't want to make any allegations against the court, but the facts tell you that there was no intent to dispose of this matter quickly.
In fact, the facts suggest that the courts have been deliberately dragging their matter on and on and on.
Well, I can't say deliberately, but the facts speak for themselves.
All right, not deliberately, but the end result is the matter has been dragged on and on and on.
Exactly. And look at the first hearing. This is now the impugned order now that we're going to challenge in Supreme Court. When the matter came up in Criminal Appeal 173 of 2022, it came up before Justice Siddharth Midul and Rajneesh Bhatnagar. That went on for 180 days, 6 months, 28 hearings. Why? Nobody knows. That's the state of the High Court. When it first came up, this is what happened. We went up in appeal to Supreme Court. See what happened in Supreme Court. That criminal appeal was 173 of 2022. That pendency took 272 days in Supreme Court. On 18/5/23, it came before Justice Bopanna and Hema Kohli. Notice was issued on 18/5 itself. Then on 12/7/23, it came before Justice Bopanna and M.M. Sundaresh. The other side took time. Then on 24/7/23, it came before Justice Bopanna and Bela Trivedi. Wasn't heard. Then on 9/8/23, Justice Bopanna and Prashant Kumar Mishra. Prashant Kumar Mishra recused himself. We don't know why. Not heard. On 18th August 2023, it came before Anirudh Bose and Bela Trivedi. Not heard. On 5/9/23, it came before Justice Bela Trivedi and Dipankar Datta. Not heard. On 12/9/23, Anirudh Bose and Bela Trivedi. Not heard. On 12/10/23, again not heard. This was it. It was before Bela Trivedi and Dipankar Datta, Justice Dipankar Datta. Then 29/11, Justice Bela Trivedi and Satish Kumar Sharma. Not heard. Then 10th January 24, Justice Bela Trivedi and Pankaj Mittal. And the hearing was fixed for 24th of January. And given these facts, I have to share something with you. We've had some experience with certain judges. So I felt that there was no chance of getting bail. So we had also filed writ petitions challenging the vires of the UAPA. And those writ petitions were to be heard along with the bail application. And ultimately, we withdrew the matter.
You know, let's focus for a moment on what the Delhi High Court said literally last week on the 2nd of September, when his most recent application for bail was rejected.
Yeah.
This is what the Delhi High Court said. The adage, bail is the rule, refusal is the exception, is not universally applicable. In your opinion, do you believe the court is wrong in refusing to apply the adage to Omar Khalid? After all, the Supreme Court has famously said, even one day in jail is one day too many. And yet the High Court has ignored that.
Honestly, it depends on the facts and circumstances of the case. Supposing there is actually a terrorist activity, supposing there is a bomb blast, you catch hold of the person in the bomb blast, there is direct evidence. Supposing somebody attacks Parliament, somebody attacks Lal Killa, somebody attacks civilians at a railway station, and you get hold of the accused, well, then the court feels that, look, they shouldn't be let out on bail, right? But there was no such thing here. These kids were protesting, and there is no allegation against Umar Khalid of bombing anybody, of killing anybody, of kidnapping anybody, of indulging in violence or instigating violence. In fact, what's interesting is, and viewers should know this, a terrorist act is defined in Section 15 of the Act. And it talks about using bombs and dynamite and explosive substances, causing death, killing a person, damaging public property, disruption of supplies and essential services, damage to monetary stability of the nation, damage of destruction of property of India, overall by means of criminal force to show criminal force to against a public functionary, detains, kidnaps, or abducts. None of this applies. That's not their case. What is that is applicable? Or any other person to do or abstain from doing any act. That's the omnibus clause at the end. So it comes within any act. What is that act? Protest. I mean, it's shocking.
So you're saying to me quite clearly that the adage, bail is the rule, refusal is the exception, does apply to Omar Khalid. The court was wrong to say it doesn't.
Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Not just wrong. I don't know what they were blinded by. The fact of the matter is, there was no allegation. He made a speech in Mumbai. He wasn't even in Delhi for the protests. The incidents happened on 23rd to 25th. He wasn't here. So he gave a speech, and the allegation is he's part of a larger conspiracy. I mean, I don't understand that.
Let me quote what the explanation the Delhi High Court gave for denying bail. It said, and I'm quoting, "It becomes the arduous task of the court to strike a balance between individual rights and the interests of the nation, as well as the safety and security of the general public at large. Therefore, this appeal does not succeed." Do you believe the court has actually struck a fair and sensible balance as it claims it has?
Unfortunately not. I mean, how did they challenge the security or endanger the security of the state? By exercising their fundamental right to protest. Right to protest is a fundamental right. What did they do to challenge the security of the state? I mean, this is absurd. Let me tell you something. We have much worse cases where actually, for serious offenses under UAPA, courts have granted bail, even in cases where he has served a sentence of 2 years, 4 months. Athar Pervez versus Union of India, 2024 Supreme Court, 3762. In 2024, 17th of December, he was inside for 2 years, 4 months, granted bail. Shoma Kanti Sen versus State of Maharashtra, judgment on 5/4/24, granted bail. Basiruddin Basiratul N. These are all UAPA cases. Granted bail.
In other words, the grant of bail has become arbitrary and ad hoc. When the court feels it wants to do it, it does it. When it feels it doesn't do it.
No, but it has granted bail to people who have served 4 years, 7 months on serious offenses. There's another one, Indira Mohan Bora versus NIA. 4 years, 7 months, granted bail. Zahir Haq versus State of Rajasthan, judgment on 11/4 this thing, granted bail. UAPA offenses.
For precisely the point I'm making.
And the argument
arbitrary and ad hoc. There is no
absolutely
logic behind the grant or refusal of bail.
But this is a case where there is no act of the gentleman. Omar Khalid never did anything. He is alleged to be part of a larger conspiracy. And they rely upon and incidentally, his speech in Mumbai said that, look, you must follow the path of Gandhiji, non-violence. That's what he said.
This case has gone on for 5 years without bail being granted. This is what the Delhi High Court on the 2nd of September said about the lapse of time. And I'm quoting once again, "A hurried trial would be detrimental to the rights of both the appellant and the state, And then it added, the pace of the trial will progress naturally. Doesn't this contradict the well and long established Supreme Court position that the right to a speedy trial is a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution?
Several of the cases that I just mentioned to you, bail has been granted because they say trial is not going to take place. Many witnesses have yet to be, there are thousands of pages of documents, witnesses yet to be examined. It's already been 4 years, 7 months, or 2 years, 4 months, or 5 years. There's no point in keeping him inside. So the process becomes the punishment. You can't have the process becoming the punishment. In this particular case, at the moment when we speak, there are arguments on charge taking place, whether the charge should be framed or not. 30,000 pages, 3,000 pages in the charge sheet, 30,000 documents in electronic form. This will take 5-7 years. So does the High Court mean that he should be in jail for 5-7 years? And it's good for the state and good for him because trial can't be expedited. It must go on at its own pace. I mean, it's shocking.
Let me pick up on the point you made a moment ago. And you made that point in your press conference a few days earlier as well. You pointed out that Omar Khalid was not in Delhi when the riots happened. The speech that's called an act of terror was made in Bhawandi, not in Delhi. Yet on the second, the Delhi High Court called it, and I'm quoting once again, a premeditated, well-orchestrated conspiracy. How do you respond to that?
What's the conspiracy? What's the conspiracy? Did he say anything? Did he do anything? Did any of his WhatsApp messages mention that this is what we are going to indulge in violence? I mean, I'm shocked. What they do is they record the statements of certain witnesses and call them protected witnesses. Having recorded those statements, they don't release those statements to us. So we don't know what those witnesses said, right? And the court then looks at those statements and without reference to us, passes an order. So I am in the dark. I can't defend myself. The protected witnesses must also be protected. So therefore, they can't release their statements and their names. We can't cross-examine anybody. This will happen at the stage of trial. There is some larger conspiracy in which I'm involved. I mean, it's shocking.
You know, when you take on board what you've just said, that the court is relying on the evidence of protected witnesses, which has not been shown to Umar Khalid, it has not been shown to his lawyers. And then you add to that what you said, that 5 years have lapsed and the charges have not been framed. When you take all of that on board, it certainly feels as if not only has an injustice been done to Omar Khalid by denying him bail, but it feels like vindictiveness. Am I wrong in my impression?
I can't charge the court with vindictiveness. I just say that it's a gross error on the part of the court, the grossest form of error and injustice.
The grossest form of error.
Yes, and injustice.
Now, whilst Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam and 8 others have had cases brought against them and languish in jail, nothing has happened to Anurag Thakur and Kapil Mishra, who were seen and heard on TV and social media provoking violence and indulging in communal speech. Is that because Thakur and Mishra are members of the ruling party? Or because they are Hindu? Or both? What's the explanation for the difference in treatment?
Something did happen. Something did happen in the case of Kapil Mishra. When a judge of the Delhi High Court said, "Why aren't you filing an FIR against Kapil Mishra?" he was transferred. So something did happen.
You're talking about Justice Muralidhar.
Yes, that's the story that tells you as to what happens.
So those two gentlemen, Anurag Thakur and Kapil Mishra, have actually been protected by the police either because they are members of the ruling party or because they're Hindu or for some other reason, we don't know what, but discrimination has been shown between the way they've been treated and the way Omar Khalid has been treated.
My worry is much greater than that. So when the judge said that, look, file an FIR for what they have said, the judge was transferred. That tells you another story altogether.
It tells a very damning, disturbing story, Mr. Sibal.
That's correct. That's very correct.
And not only was that judge transferred, but there was a lot of problems before he was made a High Court Chief Justice. and he was never elevated to the Supreme Court.
That was also another story which the people of this country should be aware of.
In other words, there is an awful lot that is shameful.
Not just this is just one of those incidents. It's much more than that. Judges around the country who have stood up and tried to uphold the rule of law have been punished. And
Let me once again quote from what the Delhi High Court said on the 2nd of September when they refused Umar Khalid bail. They were talking about the right of protest. This was precisely what they said. If the exercise of an unfettered right to protest were permitted, it would damage the constitutional framework and impinge upon the law and order situation in the country. Do you accept that?
It's completely wrong. I mean, probably they should read Article 19 of the Constitution. If you read Article 19 of the Constitution, I'll read it for you, but it's important that people know about it. It says that you have a right to protest, that is the right to assembly peacefully and without arms. So this was peaceful without arms. We all know that. But it's not unregulated, it's regulated. This right can be regulated with reasonable restrictions in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India. It doesn't apply here. Security of the state doesn't apply here. Friendly relations with foreign states doesn't apply here. Public order doesn't apply here. Decency or morality or in relation to contempt of court doesn't apply here. None of this applies.
So the Delhi High Court was completely wrong.
Completely. And you can't talk about law and order. It's public order under 19.2, not law and order.
We're coming to the end of this interview, but the one impression that everyone will have got from the way you have answered is that a gross injustice has been done to Omar Khalid and to all the other 9 who are repeatedly denied bail. As you said, it is the grossest form of injustice. But the question arises, why have political parties not taken up Omar Khalid's case as a cause célèbre? Why is the middle class, why is Indian society not exercised about this? Why is it being accepted as if it's okay?
I said the same thing in my press conference. Exactly that. Why are political parties silent? Why is the middle class silent? Why is there are some people in the media who are not, but why is the mainstream media not carrying the dialogue forward, the narrative forward as to how?
Is it because he's a Muslim?
You can take a guess.
How do you see the next 6 months or 1 year for Omar Khalid? You've said in that press conference that whenever the trial is held, he will be exonerated.
Yes.
Who knows when that will be? Until then, what happens to him?
Well, we're going to Supreme Court. Let's hope for the best. That's all that I can say.
So you have decided you'll go to the Supreme Court?
100%. But let me tell you one thing. I think forget about injustice to an individual. That of course is personal to Umar Khalid and Sharjil and others. But the more serious thing, how does the institution of the judiciary itself deal with matters like this? That's the most serious thing.
And that's a question the judiciary will not find easy to answer.
No, they choose not to answer.
This is a black mark on the Indian judiciary.
Well, you can say that.
But you're not denying it.
I'm not denying it or affirming it, but I'm saying the facts speak for themselves.
All right. Kapil Sibal, thank you very much for making time for us. Thank you very much for explaining how you view Omar Khalid's tragic situation.
Thank you.
Wish you luck. I hope you succeed at the Supreme Court.
Thank you very much, sir.
Take care. Stay safe.
A naked man has little to no influence on society. In clothes like this, you step out and you know that you're going to turn heads. You know that you're going to create an impression of a person who cares deeply about the way they look and has a finer eye for detail. And, that seems to be the Bombay Shirt Company way. What I really love about these clothes, and I really mean this, is this looks like a man has walked into the room. I like that. It's nice.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on The Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch The Interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.